Chubby Biscuits Audio presents The Chubby Biscuits and the Secrets of Sam Blas Island, written by The Chubby Biscuits and read to you by The Chubby Biscuits.
Part 1. Harrison. Everyone wishes they could go back and redo moments of their life. If I could redo one, just one, my life would have ended differently. I'm waiting in the airport lobby with all of my friends. The plane is almost ready for us. "Come on, guys, let me sit down," says Eli. "I've been standing up so long that my legs feel like jelly." "Your legs always feel like jelly. And besides, it's my birthday, so if anyone should be sitting on the last waiting chair, it should be me," says Willy. "None of us would be here if I didn't win big at that Zaxby's worker giveaway." "You're right," Eli says sheepishly. "Guess you'll have to thug it out," I tell Eli. "Plane E, ready to board," announces the gate agent through the speaker. "Well, guess he's done thuggin'," says Samuel, slapping me on the back. "Dude, that hurt," I said, rubbing the back of my head where he slapped me. "You want me to slug him?" asks James. "Nah, I'll save a good whooping for him when he least expects it on the plane." We're stepping onto the plane, looking for our seats. "Watch your head," Ethan says, laughing while Eli and Samuel duck to get through the door. They're both 6'3", by the way. We find our seats and split into groups of 3. James, Ethan and I, Willy, Eli and Samuel. But the odd one out, David, has to sit alone because the seats were in 3s. We all laugh at David in pity while he shakes his head in disappointment. "Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I'll let you be the first to drink the ocean water," says James. "Please don't, bro. We don't need you throwing up again," I say. James has thrown up at my house more than I have. I'm just hoping he doesn't get to double digits. The plane starts to take off, and Eli grabs Samuel's arm. "Bro, what the Sigma?" Samuel says after he jerks his arm away from Eli. "My bad," says Eli. "I don't like planes. I know I'm 6'3", but that's as high up as I want to be." "Hey, that rhymes." "Shut up, boy," says Samuel, smacking his head in utter disappointment and second-hand embarrassment. "Yo, Willy, can you tell us more about where we're headed? You've kept it mostly a secret," I say. "Okay," says Willy. "Guys, listen up. We're going to an island around the Panama Canal called San Blas Island." "That's a weird name," says David. "You're a weird face," I say to David. "That doesn't make any sense, Harrison," says David. "Well, anyway," says Willy, "we'll learn more about it once we get there. I heard it has a landing port on the island." "It must be a massive island," says David, chuckling. "We'd best get some sleep," says Ethan. "It's going to be a long flight and a fun day tomorrow." We all start to nod off and go to sleep, one by one. Eli is laying in a seat asleep, mumbling about cottage cheese. Samuel makes himself fall asleep by putting Juice WRLD on through his earbuds. James is wide awake watching Instagram Reels. My eyes close, my thoughts become dreams, and I too fall asleep. I wake up to the sound of Ethan's seat unbuckling, as well as everyone else's. "Destination arrived," echoes the plane speaker. "We don't have any luggage because it's a morning trip, and there is food on the plane." We make our way off the plane and down the steps. "Welcome to San Blas Island," says our tour guide. "My name is Paul, and I'll be your tour guide for the island." Everyone in the crowd starts to clap and cheer. "Why is everyone clapping? We haven't even seen anything yet," says James. "Guess they're just excited," says Samuel, as he puts a handful of sand down the back of Willy's shirt. Willy jumps away from Samuel, shaking all of the sand out of his shirt. Then he puts Samuel in a headlock and they start wrestling on the sand. Boys, break it up," says our tour guide Paul. "I haven't even told you what's so special about this island." Samuel and Willy get up and brush the sand off their clothes. Paul then starts to say, "This island has no inhabitants, only visitors who come by plane. We are close enough for boats to reach us, but there's an enormous blue whale around here that has a short temper when it comes to boats getting near the island. However, we are safe to go out in the water if we stay close enough to the shore that the whale can't get us. There have been a few incidents with the whale in our boat, but I'm pretty sure we'll be fine when we go out in the water later on today. The island is also home to a volcano, a hot spring, a cave, a coral reef. Although we can look at the hot spring, we can't go in it because it's over 230 degrees. "How does it get that hot?" asks a lady in a blue dress. "It gets its heat from the magma below it," says Paul. Alright, I'll tell you guys one last thing, and then I'll show you guys around, Paul continues. There was a scientist in 1996 named Asher Morris. He and his crew of whale hunters were out on a ship they called the Walook. He was looking for a new species of whale that was 10 times the average size. They eventually spotted the whale and tried to kill it for research. Spear after spear they threw, but the whale's flesh was so thick that the spears couldn't penetrate it. The whale had enough, and it knocked over the boat. All the men drowned in the water except for one. That man was Asher Morris. He clung on to a part of the ship that was floating, and the waves washed him onto the island. He survived for a year, eating fish, bananas, and drinking coconut water. He was eventually found and brought back to society, but he didn't want to stay. He had grown so attached to this island that he came back and built his own little lab and lived here alone doing experiments. But one experiment went horribly wrong. He was trying to turn purified water back into salt water. He put it under immense heat, but the heat was too much. Everything caught on fire and blew up. Every bad chemical he had mixed into one bad toxin that burns the inside of your lungs when inhaled in large amounts. More than half the island is too risky to go to without getting hurt. Don't worry, if you stay with me, you'll be fine, says Paul. After all has been said, without further ado, let's have a great time at Blas Island.